Hey, what's up everyone? Danny and Alex. In this video, we're going to teach you some essential beginner mount maintenance as well as attacks. Check it out. All right, let's talk about the mount position for beginners. The idea is always to learn how to control the position first. If I don't know how to control the position and I go backwards by learning only the submissions first, if this guy bumps me off and I end up at the end of the room, it's no good for me, right? So at the end of the day, I need to know mount maintenance. So we're only gonna cover a few essentials today. There's many ways and tricks that you can do to maintain the mount. But for today, just for the purpose of this beginner type mount video, we're gonna teach you guys the essentials, all right? So I'm on all fours, hands are on the mat, knees are tucked in against the shoulders, feet tucked in against the hips, and now the opponent on the bottom is gonna start to push on my chest. When he does so like this, my hands are gonna raise off the mat. So if I don't understand Jiu Jitsu, my first instinct is gonna be to hold on to him by grabbing his head like this. But this is no good because if he starts to turn, I'm turning with him, okay? So now, every time someone starts to push on your chest, we should use what we call the pummeling, or sometimes we just refer to it as swimming, okay? So now, when he pushes up, there's gonna be a gap where I can start to turn my shoulders and insert one hand and keep pushing, Alex, and see how I just deflect the energy of the person pushing on the bottom, okay? So one more time, we start here, and the person starts to push. If he's so strong, he's gonna raise me up, and I try to resist with the weight, the strength, or even latching onto him, I'm gonna end up falling off the mount position. So every time he's pushing up and my hands are coming off the ground, I turn. See, I deflect, and now I can insert one, start to pummel, and insert two, back to original position. Let's do this one more time. He pushes, and I turn, and deflect so I can swim my hands inside his. Now, the other thing that's gonna happen is when I'm here, he might start to push me sideways. So he's gonna push and here, and of course, if I don't have anything, I'll fall off the mount position. So now we're gonna latch on using our palm. So there's two methods I like to teach. The first one, if I'm very low and he pushes, I'm gonna hook with my arm and extend the opposite arm to make a post. All right? So this is a great method if I'm already chest to chest, pelvis to pelvis, and I'm snug, right? I'm really stuck to the opponent, and now he tries to drive sideways, I could latch onto his neck. This is a good method. Once again, as he pushes sideways, see, one, and I just post side to side. If he switches sides, two. So this is a great method, but sometimes I'm already postured upwards like this, okay? Maybe this was a real fight and I'm trying to hold on to him. Maybe I was trying to strike for MMA. And this is where he tries to push me sideways as my shoulders are above his like this. So now I won't have time to grab with my bicep. What I'll do is just use cupping 5 fingers behind like this. When he pushes me this way, I'll latch onto his head and post. And if he switches side, latch on and post, okay? So the side-to-side maintenance is another crucial element in your jiu-jitsu game when you're starting out. Whether you're doing mixed martial arts, no-gi jiu-jitsu, or with the gi, it's very important to understand how to maintain your position first, because in the first 30 seconds or so that you're gonna have the mount position from the side control, from that guard pass, the opponent is gonna be trying very hard to bump you off, turn you over, or recover the guard from the bottom. And you have to maintain the position, get your opponent tired, and make him make mistakes so you can start attacking the submission holes. Now let's look at this once again, all right? So now I'm very low, he goes side to side, he pushes, I go one. He switches side, and two. One more, and three. I'm a little bit higher here, and he goes side to side. Now, I'm gonna latch onto his neck. This is my last resort. He switches sides, boom. Again, boom, okay? Now sometimes he's gonna start to push sideways, and the more he pushes, the more the arms are extended. All right, so he's gonna be at the extent of his push or the extent of the limitation of his arm length, and that's perfect for me. Now I'll have to recenter my balance to make sure I don't use my strength against his. I just want to deflect his strength. Now slow motion, as he starts to push here, as I latch onto him and he pushes, see how this hand is gonna go inside to swim? Boom, boom, back to center. One more time, he pushes sideways, I latched on, he pushes, I swim this one inside, I post, pushing myself back to center, and post again, okay? So this is another crucial component you should have to maintain your mount position, and you should drill this a lot. All right, guys, let's look at this angle for a moment because I want to talk about one more method you have to have in your arsenal of mount maintenance. Sometimes my knees are a little bit tight against his waistline and not so much in the armpits. When this happens, the opponent might use his palms or his elbows. Most frequently, it's always going to be the palms. They're going to try to push your leg inside his guard or inside his leg. This is the beginning of the escape or elbow escape, sometimes used also with the palms. So now when he starts to push here, if I don't do anything and I push all my weight onto my palms, most of my weight is now on my hands, and now the knee becomes light and he's going to wrap my leg. Now I'm stuck in his half guard. To prevent this, before I have to measure or even like counter by switching my position, we're talking about mount maintenance, not switching from the side or technical mount, just keeping my position. My goal is to frustrate my opponent and keep him there, keep him tired. Okay, so now when he starts to push here and I see this, all I'm gonna do is on the same side, just cup. So I just cup here and I raise his elbow up, and now I bring my knee snug against his armpit. Okay, so maybe I had a lower mount like this. And now let's use your palm first. He starts to push with his palm onto my knee. Right? This happens a lot. This is not the best method to prevent someone from keeping the mount position, but it happens a lot. So I like to look at matches and study how people's reactions are. Not how we should do it all the time, because sometimes people do it the wrong way, and this is one of them. When they start to push with their palm, this is very weak. So push, Alex. See, this is very weak. You just have to press more weight onto your leg, but you want to get rid of this. So I'm going to do is 5 fingers, just cup and raise up. And now I eliminate the space that was there. Boom, back in, and now I can maintain my mount position again, okay? The same thing if he starts to push using his elbow. This is a better way to try to attempt the elbow escape. So if he starts to push with this, using the frame, it's the same thing, guys, okay? So I'm gonna cup, I use 5 fingers, and now I use the fingers behind the point of his elbow and raise his elbow up. Once the elbow is off the mat or off my leg, that's when I bring my knee in, and now it's back into the armpit. Now it's going to be very difficult for him to recover the guard. Okay, so now in the mount position, I always have options to attack. Once I understood how to control the position and I see an opening, it's almost like boxing. I see an opening, or I want to create an opening, then I want to shoot to try to score that knockout. The knockout in Jiu Jitsu happens with the submission, when a tap is there. Don't forget, if this was a real street fight, every time you tap, you know what that means, right? So in Jiu Jitsu, when we tap, we let go. In a real fight, if I'm on top of you and I'm attacking your limb, and this was a really serious situation, of course I'm gonna break your shoulder or your elbow off. Now what we're gonna do is attack. The first submission hold that I like to teach from this position is called the shoulder lock or the Americana. What I'm gonna do now is when his elbows are bent in a 90 like this is perfect for the top person. I myself have a perfect opportunity to attack the shoulder from here. The way we're gonna do this is just leaning on to one side. So for example, if I'm attacking this arm, I'm gonna lean onto it to bring his arm to the ground and now connect my own arm onto the ground beside his neck like this, okay? Now once I'm here, I use my free hand and I just raise his elbow off the mat so I can latch onto my own wrist like this. Now keep in mind that while I'm doing this, he might try to attempt to strike me in the face with his free arm. And this is a dangerous position. So what I need to do is always look away from him. I look away from him from here. I'm gonna grab the wrist tightly, raise my elbow off the mat, and now paintbrush here, okay? When I do so, this attacks the shoulder. It's called the Americana lock, okay? So it creates a 90 degree, and now I raise the elbow off the mat, and now I scrape the knuckles against the ground, okay? So it makes it impossible for him to free his arm. The only attempt he has to escape is to try to push me off. And now I'm gonna show you a small trick that I like to teach at all times, is to always use the opposite leg as a hook. And I'll show you the hook on this side. So what I'll do now that you've seen the Americana is I'll start attacking on this side. Once I drop into a base and I got to here, he might try to use his hand and not strike, but push me off. So he's trying to push me off. And see how my weight goes all on my elbows and eventually on my face, and eventually my hips are off the mount position. So what I need to do when I'm here is, see this leg? Watch the foot. Close up on that foot. See what happens here? I lock the leg here. When I raise my heel up towards the ceiling and I've locked his leg up, this is called a grapevine. What happens now is all of my weight with my hips have sunk into my opponent. So now it makes it very difficult for him to escape because I'm creating a lot of pressure like a sprawl by driving and anchoring myself onto the opponent. Now if he tries to push, I'm glued to him. He tries to push me, he's also trying to remove himself from the equation, which is not gonna happen. And now from here, the shoulder lock happens on the opposite side. So a lot of times when you start to create pressure points on one side, you start to drive weight on one hip or on the legs, he's gonna attempt to remove that pressure. And he forgets about the limb that's being attacked. So this is a simple trick, but a very efficient technique to use when you're in a mount position, and we like to refer it as the simple Americana. Everyone should have this in their arsenal. NoGi, Jiu Jitsu, MMA, and self-defense. All right, so now Alex has the mount position to demonstrate the next technique. Of course, you probably guessed it, it's the famous armbar. We showed this in a previous video. So if I start to push him like this, we already talked about swinging the arms. He swims here and negates the effect of my strength, right? So even if I'm pushing hard, it's almost like his body is jello, right? Like a water bag. So every time I'm pushing, he's just kind of flowing and making my arms and triceps very tired. So he can do this all day long. So we'll go one, and then I get very tired. And eventually, if I'm very stiff, I go here, one. Now, see how the hands don't touch the mat anymore? So instead of posting onto the ground, he's gonna post onto my chest. And that permits him to start raising his knees off the ground and turning to the side to catch the famous arm lock position. From here, keeps the head steady, and now grabs two hands on the wrist and extends the arm for the elbow lock, okay? This is the famous arm bar. And remember the drill we showed you guys in the previous video where we could jump in 3 steps? So number 1 was the basic jump. Once you post on my chest, 1. Number 2, the angle. And then on number 3 is the catch. Okay, let's see this one more time. So if you haven't seen this video, go back on my channel, check out all the previous jiu-jitsu videos we did, the fundamentals for beginners, and how to properly practice the drill of catching the spin for the arm lock, okay? Once I'm on the bottom and I try to escape, if he takes his time and posts, and now takes his time and jumps high up, and now as he turns to pass his leg, I'm gone. I'm not waiting for him. So he has to do this very quickly. And the only way to achieve this is by practicing frequently. So the practice drill is this. He goes 1, and now 2, and now 3, and locks the arm, okay? Now that we understand this, we can start putting this into a drill, right? So now the drill will look like this. I'm on the bottom, and I have to feed him reactions. So if I start to push, he goes swimming, right? He swims. If I go side to side, he latches on. Sometimes if he's already here, he just uses his palm to latch on and posts. And here too. And now he wants to regain his position. So when he posts on this side, see if my arm starts to push, he swims this one inside, post, pushes him in the middle, and then back here. As he pushes on the ground and I'm driving here, his hips will square up mine. One more time, if I try to push onto my left side, his right, he latches on. If I keep extending here to push, I insist, he swims, creates base, and drives back to the center. On the opposite side, it looks the same thing. 1. Now I'm gonna try to push, he swims, pushes, and drives back in. So we're gonna combine everything we just talked about. The swimming, 2 methods of side to side. If he sees the reaction to catch the arm lock, he's gonna go for it. And if I'm blocking and defending, he might go for the Americana, okay? So let's start. Ready? Nice. Beautiful. So every time we're on the bottom, if you see the hands like this is a choice for him. He can go on either side. But if he sees one on top of the other, that's the Americana he should attack. Of course, if this one is on top, this is the side he's gonna tap, the top side arm, all right? So if he goes here, 1, right? That's his catch. But if this one was on top, he doesn't want to attack the left arm. He wants to attack the right arm. That's the one that's available. And if I'm here, of course, he has the choice. And if I'm here and I'm stiff, he has the choice of 2 arm locks. And sometimes I might just push and slightly turn to the side like this, see? And still catches the arm lock. All right, guys, thanks for watching our video. Once again, leave us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this type of content. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more Jiu-Jitsu videos coming your way. And don't forget to train hard. We'll see you guys
in the next video.
Take care.